Hello everybody, and thank you so much for joining me for today's video. In this one, I'm talking through my top 10 sewing pattern picks for spring. I am so excited for this video, so excited. I don't know about anybody else, but I am totally over winter and winter sewing. I'm really fed up of it. It's so grey outside, I cannot wait for sunshine, and more to the point, I can't wait for spring sewing too. I've got a mix of patterns here, and I've tried to bear in mind the weather outside because here in the UK, it's still pretty miserable. So all of these pieces you can layer, or they're little jackets that are very easy to throw on basic outfits or make them a bit more fun. But don't worry, there's lots of long sleeves because it's still freezing outside. But anyway, let's get straight into it because I'm really excited to share these patterns with you, and let's talk spring sewing. So I normally start with dresses because they're my absolute favourite, but today I'm going to start with blouses. And the first one I'm going to mention is one that is perfect if you're wanting to jump on the Ganni tie front top trend. If you don't know what I mean, where have you been? Because everybody seems to be making these types of tops. They've got ties down the front, they're a loose boxy fit, and some of them have these really beautiful statement collars as well. And this pattern here is perfect if you want to hop on that trend and have a go at making your own version. This is New Look N6745. It's really sweet. I have never made anything that has this statement collar before, but I was really intrigued to have a go at making one because I've been seeing so many and they look cute on everyone, and they can be styled in loads of different ways as well. So if you feel like it's a bit much for you, a bit too girly, have a go. You might be surprised. I've actually bought an extra large men's cotton shirt off of Vinted, which I'm going to flip to turn into one of these types of tops. But this is perfect if you've got some fabric in your stash and you want to make your own version. So this pattern has two different views. You have this one here, which has the traditional kind of Ganni style tie front. It's loose and boxy, and then it has this big statement collar with a little ruffle all the way around. It's really sweet. It's got long puff sleeves as well, and then you've got another version that doesn't have the collar if you really like the style of the top, but you don't want to go all out and make a statement with it. The size range on New Look patterns isn't great, so this one only goes from size 8 to 20. I'm going to link a butterick top that is very similar, and it goes up to size 38W. It's got a very similar collar, it's just got a button front instead. So if you are plus size and looking to make something like this, then check that pattern out because it's really sweet too. Let me know if you want to see a sew along video from when I turn the men's shirt into this style top. I'm excited to sew it, and I'm very intrigued to see if it actually suits me, so stay tuned for that. Next up, another blouse, and this is S9606 by Simplicity. I love this pattern. It has these lace trims under the bust and around the neckline, and you've got lots of different views here. You've got a sleeveless version for when it gets a little bit warmer. You've got a little puff sleeve version as well, and you've also got this keyhole neckline. So this is a fitted top. It's very simple, and view B actually only requires a meter of fabric. So if you're looking for a project to use up your kind of leftover pieces, this could be perfect. But this really gives me Reformation vibes. I've seen lots of tops like this on Pinterest that are just styled with jeans and trousers, and they're really gorgeous. I absolutely love when they're made in just a plain white fabric with a contrasting lace as well. So this pattern goes from a size 6 to a size 24. You can use loads of different fabrics for this top, but I would lean towards using a cotton or maybe a linen, something with a little bit more structure so it fits much better around the body, and also you get a little bit more structure on those really sweet sleeves. I'm not sure if you can see, but it does have some button details down the front as well, which is how you fasten it. It's absolutely adorable. I love the details on this. It looks really expensive as well. I cannot wait to make this one for spring. So this doesn't really count as a blouse because it's a jumper, but I wanted to mention it because I've been making one recently and I absolutely love it. This is Me 2003 by Nomi Patterns, and this is a two-piece knitted set. You've got this really sweet V-neck jumper with a ruffle around the neckline, and then you've got this long panelled fitted skirt which also comes in a mini version as well. If you have a look at the line drawings, you can see the ruffle a little bit better there. This is absolutely adorable and so perfect for spring. The version I'm making actually doesn't have the ruffle, but I did use the big puff sleeves and they are gorgeous. So gorgeous and roomy enough that you can fit layers underneath as well. The cardigan comes in 2 different lengths. You have one that sits more at your hips and then more of a cropped style length. So size wise, this goes from a small to an XXL. So it goes from a 31-inch bust to a 48-inch bust. I will say, however, this pattern comes up big. I made the medium and I probably could have made the small and it will still be oversized on me. So it's very generous with the sizing. So just bear that in mind when you're making this as well, that it does come up a little big, but so cute and absolutely an essential for your wardrobe for spring. So moving on to my favorite dresses, I want to talk about a pattern that I finished very recently and loved so much that I started making another one immediately afterwards. This is V9311. I absolutely love this pattern. It's super easy to sew, so it's perfect for a beginner and it's just so beautiful to wear. It's a pullover dress with an empire line and it almost looks a little bit bias cut because it skims the body, but it's not tight fitting. It has a tie around the back to kind of cinch you in. And then with the skirt, you've got 2 options with a full maxi length with a slit at the front or a midi length with a ruffle. It does have pockets in the side seams. I did omit the pockets just because I don't like having extra bulk around that area, but they're very simple to add in if you wanted to. And it's got a long puff sleeve version or a sleeveless version as well. So it will see you all the way through to now when the weather's cold and miserable, right through to the summer. So the first version I made was in a lightweight satin for Valentine's Day, and I just changed the sleeve to a sleeve on another Vogue pattern. Absolutely love that. I'm making another one now in a leopard print satin, and I'm going to add some lace trim around the neckline here and under the bust too. I'm trying to recreate a Rixo dress that I absolutely love. So I might add some lace around the sleeves as well, just add that extra bit of detail. And after I make that one, I'm planning on making another one because I love it so much. I have some embroidered viscose linen in my fabric stash, and I really want to make the sleeveless version for summer because I'm just so obsessed with how it looks. The sizing I want to talk about because I have very small shoulders and the bodice on this came up big. I normally make a 12 in Vogue and then grade it out at the hips. But in this one, I cut out the 12, I tried it on and it was big. So I did have to take it down a lot and I had to lose, I think, 2.5 inches off the shoulder. So I would definitely recommend making a 12 for this one. The skirt was really generous on sizing. I was really pleased with that because normally I find things quite tight around my hips, but it was lovely. And the way that it skims the body is just gorgeous. But if you're going to pick up one pattern from this video, make it this one because this just is fab. So next up is a dress that I haven't actually made before, but it's next on my to sew list. I've got some gingham fabric to make this for Easter Sunday, but this is Me 2016 by Nomi Patterns, and this dress is amazing. You've probably seen it 100 times before because anybody who has made this dress seems to have made another version immediately because it's so great. It's got a high neck bodice with a curve around the waistline, which is really interesting. And then it's got this tiered skirt that's almost raised in the middle, and you've got the pockets, these really big pockets down at the side. It's just a really interesting design. It's very different, but because of the high neck and the long skirt, it's a very easy to wear dress, and you can make it in so many different fabrics as well. You will want to make this in something that holds the structure of the dress, so probably a cotton, maybe a brocade if you're going to a wedding, just nothing too heavy because of the gathers. A linen mix would work really well too. You could go for a viscose in this. There's no reason you couldn't, but you just probably wouldn't get the same amount of volume in the sleeves. So just bear that in mind. But this is amazing. I love Nomi Patterns because the designs are always so different. Sizing wise, this goes from a size 8 to a size 26, which is a 31.5-inch bust to a 48-inch bust. Again, I've been told that the sizing on this one is generous. And my biggest recommendation when you're making any big four pattern is always to check the finished garment measurements because it will show you the ease, etc. Lots of people I know who've made this have sized down. So maybe size down in this one if you want a little bit more of a fitted bodice, but I cannot wait to make my gingham version of this one. So the next pattern is maybe a little bit too summary for this video, but I really wanted to mention it because I do think thrown underneath the cardigan, it works for spring and I love it so much. I couldn't not mention it. This is McCall's 7116. It's a Empire line bias cut dress pattern and it's got 4 different bodice options. It's so sweet. I love this. The one I made last summer, I was blown away with how cute it was because I was a little bit skeptical about this kind of Empire line bias cut skirt. I normally wear dresses that cinch in at the waist or start at the waistline. I didn't have particularly high hopes for it, but when I made it, I was blown away. I did View B, which has an elasticated neckline and these little puff sleeves, and I didn't actually put the elastic in the sleeves and it looked really gorgeous. But if you want to go sleeveless, I also really love View A. That will be so cute for when it gets a lot warmer. But View B 100% is my favorite and I am dying to make that one again. I'm actually looking for a yellow floral fabric because I saw a very similar dress on Pinterest and I loved how it looked, but I have a very yellow undertone in my skin and I really struggled to find a shade of yellow that actually suits me. So that is my mission this summer, is to try and find my perfect yellow so I can make this exact style dress. So size wise, this pattern goes from a size 8 to a size 24. I would say though this is small. It came up small on me. I'm not particularly big on the bust anymore, thanks to my kids. I would have to check, I can't remember. I think I made a size 12. I'm normally a 10 or 12 in McCall's and it is a little bit snug on me. The skirt I did grade out because I always grade them out and that fit really well, but the bodice definitely isn't particularly generous for sizing. So if you're blessed in the chest, you'll probably want to size up 1, maybe even 2 sizes just on the bodice. A dress pattern that I'm working on at the moment and something super simple. This is M7946. This pattern has been around for years. It's one of the most best-selling McCall's patterns and for very good reason. Everybody loves a sheared dress in the spring and summer, don't they? And this is a really good way of getting a sheared dress without the shearing if you don't like doing shearing. The other thing about this pattern as well that I really like is if you are bustier and you've made a sheared dress before, you will know that when you do your shearing and you wear it on your body, it's really short at the front and it's really long at the back. Now, that is because obviously shearing, when you're doing it in squares, is not exactly designed for a busty body. So this pattern actually has shaping. So it's hard to see from the line drawings, but actually it kind of scoops out under the arms and the back piece is slightly shorter. So you don't get that same problem where you have loads and loads of shearing really low down at the back. So it's a much better fit than a regular sheared dress. I'm making one at the moment in a black and white gingham. I'm recreating a damson madder dress that has bows at the front. And I made a version of this at Christmas for my sister as well to wear on Christmas Day. And it looks so gorgeous on her. It comes together so quickly as well, which is really nice. But you can change this ever so easily. If you wanted to do this fully sheared, you could. If you wanted to do shearing rows instead of elastic, you could. Or if you wanted to add extra elastic, play around with it. There's loads of different ways that you can make this dress. It's got different sleeve options, different skirt options. You can make so many different dresses from this one pattern. So the next dress is another one that's bordering on more summer than spring, but it's actually the dress that I'm wearing, so I thought I would share it. This is S9326, and the one I'm wearing does actually have sleeves, and they were really easy to add, so you can very easily add a sleeve to this pattern if you want to. But this dress is beautiful. It's so simple, but in the best way. It has a square neckline, a princess seam bodice, and then this really beautiful panelled skirt. I hacked this one that I'm wearing to have a sheared panel in the back and a little bit of gathering at the skirt as well to make it super comfortable to throw on and easy to wear. This would also be really lovely for a spring wedding if you're looking for ideas for that. But this is gorgeous. I couldn't recommend this pattern enough. I'm really obsessed with it. I just love the way that panelled skirts fit on my body. I have quite wide hips. I'm an hourglass shape and this kind of panelled skirt really just kind of fits very well over my type of body shape. And I love the square neckline on this, and the ruffle was just simply adorable. So size wise, this goes from a size 6 to a 22. I would also say it's very true to size. I made a 10 at the bodice, I think, and then graded out to a 14 around the hips, and it fit me really, really well. I did have to make quite a few adjustments around the neckline. As you can see with this one, I've had to do a little bit of a pleat because it's too big for me now, and the neckline gapes. So a toile is probably an essential with this one, but it is a princess seam bodice, which I always find, for some reason, they seem to fit better. I love this pattern so much though. I really want to make one maybe in a broderie on glaze fabric or some plain white for my bridal era, but it's so, so sweet. You can make it in so many different fabrics too. I've made a viscose linen version. This is a viscose version, but you could also do it in something a little bit silky for a special occasion. So this is a really, really gorgeous pattern, and it comes together really quickly too, which is always a bonus. So enough of dresses for now. Let's move on to a couple of jackets, and I'm going to start off with McCall's M8370. This is a very Chanel style two-piece set. You've got the classic little mini skirt with a slit and buttons up the front, and then you've got this boxy style jacket with a trim all the way around and these frayed edges. This is so gorgeous, but the jacket is definitely the star piece of this pattern for me. I cannot wait to sew this. I have some pink wool tweed in my fabric stash, and I'm really, really excited to make this. I just think as a jacket, it's just going to level up any outfit, and it's such a classic, timeless style jacket as well, and looks super, super expensive. I love recreating anything designer, so I cannot wait to make that. So the thing that drew me to this pattern over other Chanel style jacket patterns is this one actually has multiple cup sizes. You have an AB cup, a C cup, and a D cup as well, which is amazing because with this style jacket, it is quite kind of, although it looks boxy, it is quite fitted. So you really want to have plenty of room if you do have a bigger bust. Size wise, this one goes from a 6 to a 24, which is a 30 to a 46 inch bust. But having a look at the finished garment measurements on this, if you're looking at the D bust cup, it goes up to 51 inches. So it's obviously a little bit more roomy, which is great. But this is so, so cute. I've seen a version of the full set by Alyssa Threads, and it was absolutely adorable. This would be a really great piece to make for work, or if you're really bougie and you love wearing a set like this day to day, this would be such a fun thing to sew. I will be doing a full sew along for this pattern, so stay tuned for that video. It won't be long. So last but not least, a bit of a weird one. I'm including this jacket pattern because I think it's really beautiful and it will work well for lots of different projects. And I think it's going to work okay for what I'm aiming for, but I'm not sure yet. This is S9239. Now, basically, I want to make a really cute kind of quilted jacket. I'll pop my inspiration in, and I was looking for something that had a little collar, and this one has got the exact collar that I'm looking for. It's also got that loose boxy fit. It's got a pleat at the back as well, and it's got the really lovely patch pockets, which I'm looking for because the jacket that I'm inspired by has got a really lovely binding detail around the pockets. It's also got contrasting cuffs as well, which I'm looking for too. So I think this will work. I think this will work. But generally as a spring pattern anyway, I just really, really love this jacket. It's very classic. It's always sold out. It's really hard to find, but I did manage to get a copy of it finally. It's a very loose boxy fit. The sleeves are very loose and laid back. It'll be so easy to throw on over dresses as well. So the only thing that's holding me back from using this pattern for my padded jacket is the fabrics that they've recommended are like denim, linens, canvas, chambray, chino, twill, those types of fabrics. So obviously a quilted cotton is going to be very different from that. But I'm pretty sure I have seen a version of this made by someone using a thrifted quilt. I'll see if I can find the picture of that. If I can, I'll pop it in. So I'm pretty sure it will work. but we shall see. So in terms of sizing, this one goes from an XXS to an XXL, but looking at the finished garment measurements on this one, it looks pretty generous. So the finished garment measurements for the bust, the biggest one is 59 inches. So it looks like it's got some really generous sizing, which is really great. By the looks of this pattern, I wouldn't particularly say this is a beginner pattern, but if you're looking to push your skills a little bit in terms of sewing jackets, this could be a really great option because you've got all the top stitching, the pockets, the placket, the collar, etc. However, if you've made something like a shirt before or anything along those lines, you'll definitely be able to make this one. So those are all the patterns that I have to share with you today. Let me know what you think of my picks. Are there any that you'll be picking up this spring? Any that you've sewn before that you've really enjoyed? Pop a comment below and we can chat down there. If you want to see any sew-alongs for any of the projects that I've mentioned as well, please do let me know and I will get those filmed. And if you enjoyed today's video and you'd like to see more sewing related content from me, then please do subscribe. I'd love to have you back. Next week's video is a sew along, and then the week after I'm taking you along with me to the Stitch Festival in London, so stay tuned for those videos. But thank you so much for watching today's video and I will see you in my next one. Have a great week. Take care. Bye.